Hello, Gemma.
Hello, Melanie. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. So, although
You're
your
welcome.
screen just says Gem, so I'll introduce you properly. Gemma, who um, we sort of found each other on LinkedIn, didn't we? Because you saw one of my
hmm
posts about one of the previous interviews and
Yeah,
said that you were happy to come and have a chat with me. So, I'm very grateful.
yeah.
So,
Great to be
let's
here.
cast our minds back. First question I generally ask
Yeah,
people is why teaching in the first place?
good question. So I think when I was younger, like many young people, I didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do. I went through about a million different options in my head. I think I wanted to be an author, a radio host, a philosopher, an actor. I mean, the list honestly endless. So I was still figuring out, which is really common with young people.
Mm.
But teaching was something I was always kind of in the background, potentially interested in. Maybe because it's kind of what you're in school. I loved school, particularly primary school. So I had very warm, positive associations with learning, and I thought very highly of my teachers. And I wanted a job that could help and benefit people and society, and that's one that kind of seemed like a good fit for me. I did some work experience with a local primary school when I was in college, and I loved it. And kind of just seeing the worship of it was a year one class, and how much they kind of were just so focused on their teacher and just absolutely were sponging in everything she said. And I just thought, yeah, I want to be, I want to be at the front of
Yeah.
that classroom. And yeah, I mean that's kind of the route I went into teaching, and I picked for university the actual dedicated teaching course, which I know a lot of people don't go through that route. They pick a subject and then do a PGCE.
Yeah.
So I guess I was at that point sure enough to pick something that did train you very much for that profession.
Right. Yeah. And so, how many years did you teach for in the end?
I think it was about 10. I think it was a decade.
Right. Okay. And was that same school, different schools?
It was not the same school. No, I am a bit of a hopper. I think that I like the challenge. I like variety, which is probably why freelance life suits me. Because I can go to different projects and learn different things. So I did change quite frequently, most years. My last school I did last for 4 years, so that one was where I was a Senko and an inclusion leader.
Right.
But yeah, I did teach all over the place, including doing my TEFL. So I did that in Thailand in I think it was 2011, and yeah, whole bunch of different year groups and roles.
Right. Okay. And what was it then? At what point did the magic die?
So I think there were a couple of main motivators for me wanting to explore other options. Um, Firstly, me and my partner wanted to start a family, and I just couldn't see how that would fit in with teacher life. I didn't have any evenings, any weekends. I was, my headspace was just constantly filled with students and what I needed to do for work. So I just didn't see how that would fit together. I have so much admiration for people that manage to juggle families and teaching, because it's not a profession where you leave it at the door. It's one that does come home with you and that does spill over into hours, despite how many people think you finish at 3 and have all your holidays.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Anyway. Um, so all right. And so
Yeah, the
yeah. And was there anything
other
else?
yes, the other big push. I mean, this is maybe a bit of a divisive comment at the moment, but Ofsted came to visit, and it was a moment I can really pinpoint as thinking I've got to get out of this environment. I'd been so this was when I was a Senko, and I'd been in battle after battle to get the support that was needed for our kids that were most in need. And we'd achieved some amazing things, and I was so proud of them. And I sat with this Ofsted inspector and told all the stories of how they'd overcome some like incredibly significant challenges. And then the report came, and it was like, their data doesn't show timely accelerated academic progress. And it just felt like it took out all the human element for me. I really, really struggled with that. And I just felt like, you know, maybe I need to take a step back from this, at least for now, and process kind of the education system and whether I want to still be a part of it or not.
Yeah. I've had that Ofsted conversation with a few people while I've been doing this.
I'm not surprised.
It's not been an insignificant factor in quite a few people's decisions. Okay, so how did you choose what you were going to do as your route out? How did that come about?
So I actually I started out with an internship with it was a journalism internship, and this was just something as I just wanted to explore a different kind of work environment. I mean, I'd gone from being in school as a student, straight into teaching, and I'd never known anything else. I had never been in I'd worked in like Tesco, but I hadn't been in like a professional work office environment exploring a different career. And so I started writing for this journal called Education Technology. It doesn't.
How did you go about finding that?
I think I just saw it advertised as an internship opportunity. It was an unpaid opportunity, but I just figured my experience can lend itself to that. I was a computing coordinator for my school at the time, and they were very keen because I had that experience to take me on and see what I could do. It was actually really interesting, that job, because I wrote for a whole range of different publications. At one point I was writing horoscopes for a Irish dancing magazine. There was so much variety. There was like home interiors, real estate. There was so much, and it was really eye-opening for me to see that kind of very different world from the teaching world.
Right, yeah, that's a bit random, horoscopes.
I know. And I am not an expert by any means on horoscopes.
Probably shouldn't go there, we don't want to upset anybody.
That's true.
So, okay, so you decided, yes, I can be a copywriter, I can write. So you left teaching. And so how did you go about establishing yourself in the freelance world?
So I guess I've taken a bit of an unconventional route out of teaching, because I first went into a different job, into the charity sector. So I worked for young carers, and I was a manager for the young carer service. And I haven't actually left that job. I'm still doing some work with them so direct work with young people on the side.
Yeah.
But I got pregnant, so I left for maternity leave. And it was basically a case of now I have the headspace to think about what I want to do. I wanted something that was very flexible and worked with my family. My partner is also freelance, so I've seen what that could look like and how much kind of flexibility he had in choosing his projects. And I liked it. So yeah, maternity leave, I used that to kind of get up to speed with the business bits and find some clients and dip a toe, I guess. So it was my son then went to some childcare from March, and that gave me the opportunity to expand my business.
Right. And you've started using your teaching background very much now in the kind of stuff you're writing, I think.
Yeah, so I've taken a bit of a turn away from the content writing, the article and blog writing. I still do that as well, and I still love that. But I think the work there has it seems to have dried up a little bit, at least temporarily, with the rise in AI, I think, is the cause of that. And I got 3 projects in a row of curriculum design and learning design, and very quickly realized that I really loved doing that. And it really, my teaching skills lent themselves perfectly to that area. So that's where I'm now focusing my energy on. I've got 2 projects on at the moment, which are curriculum design projects, very exciting. So that's where I'm currently in the process of updating my portfolio to reflect this new venture.
Yeah. And were these clients who found you, or did you go looking for them?
A mixture. I have to do a shout out to LinkedIn, because that has been amazing for people coming to me. I don't think I'm a very good salesperson in terms of selling myself, and I don't like cold pitching and cold outreach. It's something I should probably learn to be a successful business owner, but I much prefer people to make connections with people, and then them say, I like what you're putting out there, I'd like to work with you. And LinkedIn has been the place where I found most clients like that. But I have also applied to some, so it's jobs that have been advertised that I've then applied to.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, like contract jobs that you've.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Have you made any decisions where now, with hindsight, you've looked back and thought, oh, that wasn't the best way to have gone about doing that, or I wish I hadn't wasted time doing that, or maybe I wish I'd spent more time on that, or anything of that nature?
I mean, I try not to regret things in life, because I think it's all a path towards where you are now, and I think that's all part of being a human, right? Is learning and
All right, don't phrase it
adapting.
as regrets then. Phrase it as lessons
Okay.
learned.
Lessons. Okay, yeah, sure. I think definitely learning how much time I actually have available and not trying to juggle too much at once. So my son is only in childcare 2 days a week, so I don't actually have that much time to do everything, to get a whole week's worth of work into 2 days a week. That is increasing in September to 3 days, which will make things a bit easier. But definitely learned to not say yes to everything, because otherwise I'm going back down the path of burnout, which was the main motivators leaving teaching. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the main lessons I've learned.
Yeah. And has there been anything that's been any kind of a barrier for you achieving something that you wanted to since you've left?
Definitely time. So needing that part-time flexible schedule doesn't work with all clients. So I have had opportunities slip past me because the client can't work with what I can offer. But I think once you're upfront with them about what you can and can't do, most people seem to be very accommodating and understanding, which is great. Definitely kind of self-doubt, and I think that's probably every freelancer that's ever become a freelancer goes through periods of self-doubt, and have I done the right thing? I've left a secure, a secure profession, and I'm just kind of floundering out here on my own and trying to make it work. I think part of the solution to that is finding your network. So finding other freelancers that are doing similar things to you, and chatting to them about what they've done and their journey, or listening to podcasts like yours, to kind of just see how other people have navigated through those moments of self-doubt.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It seems to be fairly universal in teaching that you never admit to anybody that you're struggling, because you don't want people to think that you're, weak or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you step out into the freelancing world and you think, oh, judging by everybody's posts on social media, they're all absolutely crushing it and I'm floundering about. But actually, if you reach out to people, you find out that everybody's pretty much feels the same as you do. And it's a very supportive community. I'm sure you found as well. I certainly have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does your business now,
like
it's going in the direction that you thought it would when you first left teaching?
No, absolutely not. I think I'm still figuring it out. But I'm definitely narrowing down what I want to do, which is amazing. It's great to kind of have the freedom to explore all of the different. I mean, I didn't even realize that learning design and instructional design and curriculum design were, existed. I didn't know that they were jobs. So to discover that and to discover that I really love it is great. And I don't even know if this will be what I continue to do, but for now, that's what I want to explore and what I'm really interested in.
Yeah. And could you ever see yourself going back into teaching?
Yeah, I actually could. And I know that's probably quite rare for people in your podcast. I think in terms of when my son starts school, I could see myself potentially going back into it, because actually I loved being an inclusion leader. I loved being a teacher. It was a difficult job. But I could see myself going back into it. Maybe.
Yeah, I do think, I mean, I'm too old. Well, no, I'm not too old.
No,
but
you're not.
No, this is going to see me through to retirement. But I do wonder if I was 20 years younger, if I'd be thinking, actually, yeah, maybe after a bit of a break, a bit of time out in the real world, going back in with a different perspective and maybe with a bit more self-confidence and strength to set your boundaries. And when SLT is saying, oh, go on, and you can say no. But, say it with conviction, not like they know they could persuade you with a veiled passive-aggressive threat. You could stand up for yourself better. I wonder if I think that could be
I'm a serial people pleaser, so that's definitely part of the reason why I was so burnt out, is that I said yes to everything and everyone.
No, I do wonder if the proportion of people pleasers in the teaching profession is significantly higher than in the rest of the working population. Because the education system would collapse if everybody actually stood up for themselves.
And that's very true.
Yeah, maintained healthy boundaries. I don't think that the education would survive that kind of movement. But anyway.
Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting theory. I'd love to see
that. Somebody did say to me, not on talking about this, I think somebody I was networking with said, what if your podcast gets really, really popular and all the teachers leave? I said, well, A, not likely, but B, then the government would have to fix the education system, wouldn't they?
Exactly.
There's not a recruitment crisis, there's a retention crisis. Ignoring it.
This is the thing, really, is that I do love teaching. I don't love all of the other stuff surrounding teaching that made it a really unsustainable job for me. I mean, I know some people.
I do think that's fairly common and fairly universal, that everybody I've spoken to loved being a teacher. They just didn't like working in the education system. Anyway, one piece of advice that you would leave people with now, what would it be?
I think kind of a theme we've had running through is kind of self-confidence, self-belief. So just not selling yourself short. There's so many transferable skills you have as a teacher that can translate to so many roles. And now that I've got some clients in an area I'm really interested in, I've really learned that I can do other things and that I can provide a lot of value for clients. And I think it's just about recognizing where those strengths are and yeah, kind of bigging yourself up, being, you know, I can do it, and having that confidence to take the leap.
Yeah, that's lovely, Gemma. Thank you so much for
Thank
giving us the
you.
time today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
You too. Thank you, Melanie.